Hi everyone. So today I will show you how to build API using ForEach Mediator. First of all, let me go through Integration Studio, new REST API. So now create a new artifact, right? Click next. So here I am giving ForEach API. So here I am giving one context here, ForEach. So let's modify this version type to context here and giving one version number here 1.0. This is the initial version. Finish this one. So let's go through all our requirement analysis to understand what is the flow we want to explain now. Explain this video. So this is one sample request. So I'm taking one JSON sample request. Okay. So here I'm giving one route as a message. So inside message I'm passing three nested array. One for Naren ID and name here. So this is one more nested array. This is one more array. Sorry, JSON. So these three nested JSON I'm passing inside one array. So this array will pass it as a request. Okay. So this request what we will do, after passing this one we will get on this kind of response. So after status we will pass this name and ID. So same we will repeat for another two, one for Tarun and one for Google. This one I'm passing another two JSON response also. So for this achieve this functionality we are using ForEach Mediator. This is one sample example. Okay. So what is ForEach Mediator? ForEach Mediator basically while you are processing the request, right, it will execute sequentially, step by step process. So this video I will take one ForEach Mediator. So inside ForEach Mediator I will add one Payload Mediator and Log Mediator for a monitoring purpose, and we will add one more mediator, Aggregate Mediator. So this Aggregate Mediator, it will split the value whatever we are getting from this ForEach Mediator, right? So that value we will get it from Aggregate Mediator. We will pass it as a Payload Mediator. Then we will outside of this aggregate we will pass Respond Mediator to response back to the customer. So let's start how to build this API to complete this flow. At least we need to know how we will use ForEach Mediator with Aggregate Mediator, with Payload and Log Mediator. So this will help us at least we have some idea this mediator is working how. So let's go through Integration Studio. So this is our default design view. Okay. So as we are using as a request payload, first right click this resource, go through show property view. So here we need to modify our method. Okay. So while you are creating any default XML file, by default the XML file method is get only. So let's modify this get to post. Let me close this one and save this file. So now we need to do what? As per our requirement analysis, we need to use first ForEach Mediator. So let me go through Studio again. Let F here. So let me drag and drop this ForEach Mediator here. Okay. So let's understand what is the overview about ForEach Mediator. Right click this one, go through show property view. So here it is asking for each ID, for each expression, continue loop on failure, description and sequence type. So I'm giving you ForEach API as a ID and the expression, this ForEach expression I'm giving you. So let me modify this XML to expression. So from this expression I'm giving JSON -eval. So inside this one let me just minimize and I'll explain you what I'm trying to achieve here. So if you see my request, right, so inside request only I'm passing one array, and that array I'm passing three JSON, one for ID1, one for ID2 and one for ID3, right? So these three value this the full array, how we will fetch? We need to use XPath expression to fetch the value. So if you go through Integration Studio, here I'm adding dot. After dot will consider whole response. Okay. So we need to fetch this message field value. Let me copy this one, go to Integration Studio and I'm adding this one. If you click OK, so it will do what? While this ForEach Mediator call will happen, it will go through this JSON $.message. So inside $.message it will check is there any field message is there or not. If it is there, it will fetch the value. So now we need to do what? Let me go through our requirement analysis page. So here we need to add one Payload Mediator. That one we will construct our JSON and we will respond back to the customer. Then we will print the response as a logger, end user, how end user will verify our code is giving what response. So let me go through Studio again. So here let me drag and drop one Payload Mediator. Okay. So right click this one and go through show property view. So here this media type I am modifying to JSON. So as I mentioned, like we need to return one like the response, right? Let me copy this one. This is one structure. So this structure, let me add it here. So name I am considering as a $1 and ID I consider as a $2. Okay. So this $1 how will fetch? Let me add it here. So here let me modify this one to expression. Here also change this one to JSON. So let me drag and drop here. Yeah. So here let me modify this one to I think expression, that is fine. So here I'm adding dollar dot. We need to fetch name, right? So I'm adding name. Let me save this one. Now we need to do for ID, right? So let me click. So this dollar dot name, this name must be matched with your this name. Okay. It's a small name, right? So just verify like your request value clearly is matching with your expression or not. So let me add it here. So here let me modify this one to expression. Evaluator let me modify to JSON. If you click this one, so here let me modify this one to expression. Okay. So here I'm adding dollar dot. I need to fetch one more value, right? ID. So let's save this one. So now we used one for name and one for ID. Let me close this one. So now as I mentioned, like after adding this one for end user log activity, like what is the log we are getting, we need to use one log mediator. So this one, let me go through integration studio. Let me add one log mediator here. So right click this one, go through show property view. So here let me modify this log level, okay, to full here and property file. So this property I am adding here payload mediator response. Okay, modify this value type to expression and this property. If I click OK, press means if you select that one, so this page will come. So here you need to modify this one to expression. So here I am adding JSON hyphen eval. So inside this one I am adding $1. So whatever value I am getting from the payload mediator, it will simply print that one. So let me save this one. So this is log mediator done. So after this one, just make sure one thing I'll tell you, like if you right click this ForEach Mediator and go through show property view, so this ID ForEach ID, okay, must be matched with our aggregate mediator ID. So now I'll show you like to aggregate mediator, right? Let me go through studio again. So aggregate, let me detail scroll right. This aggregate mediator we need to use outside of this ForEach mediator. Just drag and drop here. Right click this one, go through show property view. So here you can see that one aggregate ID. Let me add that ID here, ForEach API. So it will fetch whatever value is available in ForEach mediator. That value it will fetch and it will add it in aggregate mediator. So if you scroll down, right, so we need to add one aggregate expression here. So I'm adding JSON. Okay. So this we need to modify to expression here. So JSON eval. So inside JSON eval, like we need to add dollar whatever response we are getting from ForEach mediator. There is one more syntax is there, responses. So it will fetch all the value which is available, means we are getting from ForEach payload mediator. It will fetch that one. So now save this one. Let me close this thing. Let me save this one. Okay, now inside aggregate mediator, let me add one more payload mediator. Drag and drop this one here. So here let me right click this one, go through show property view. So here modify this media type to JSON. Okay, so here I'm adding like final response. So inside this one I'm adding $1. So whatever value, the full value I'm getting from the previous mediator, means ForEach mediator, that value I'm passing as a payload mediator, means not correct. Now this arguments, click add here. So here let me modify this value to expression, and this one like obviously like we need to modify to JSON. So here what I'm trying to achieve here let me modify to expression. So here I'm adding JSON hyphen eval. So inside this one I'm passing $. So whatever value I'm getting from the previous mediator, I'm adding simply that one here. Let me save this file. Okay, now let me scroll right. We need to add. So after adding this aggregate and payload, we need to add one respond mediator for whatever response we are getting from the mediator, right? We will respond back the same response to customer. We go through studio. Let me add one respond mediator after this aggregate mediator. Save this file. So now our full flow is ready. So let's deploy this code to verify our source code is working or not. So for that purpose we need to create one car file. Right click this export composite exporter. Go through our application project. So we need to export our application, right? So here I am giving one mediator name ForEach, means this is the car file name, okay? ForEach API. So click next here. So here let me expand this demo config, and we need to select that particular API which you want to deploy. So ForEach, right? ForEach Mediator. So this is the API like ForEach API, right? Let me select this one and finish. So it is showing what Carbon archive file successfully created in the given destination. So click OK. Let's deploy like this car file to verify our source code is giving correct response or not. Me go through UI, like go through EI Carbon portal. Let refresh this one. So make sure your session is active. Let me scroll down. So Carbon application, right? Let me add one new application here. That means we need to upload our new car file. Choose file. So here like this is our new ForEach API file, right? So the timing you can see 6:41, matching with my system time also. Let's open this one and upload. So like basically like after uploading it will take some second for EI to check your code is correct or not. If it is correct only you can see the particular car file in this Carbon application list. Click OK and refresh this one. Earlier it was 29, now it's 30. That means our code successfully deployed in EI and it is accepted by WSO2 EI also. If you scroll down, so this is the ForEach API, okay? The last one you can see, right? This one. So let's like now deploy our like go through our API option. So here we will get the API invocation URL, and let's use that URL to test the API. So if you scroll down, click next here. So that name is what ForEach, right? So here also not there. Okay. So this one is the like API name. So this is the invocation URL. Let me copy this one. Let's use this URL to verify our source code is working or not. Let me go through Postman. So here I am adding that URL. Let me modify this get to post body, right? So let me select this raw data and here modify this text to JSON here. So now like let me copy this request. So this is my one sample request which we want to test now. You go through Postman and add here. Let me beautify this one like just for verification, like there is no space or something in your JSON. If I send request, right? So you could see here, this is one message I am getting, and inside message I am getting status. So inside status I am getting like Naren ID, and here also one more ID, and this third ID. So if you see my response, as I mentioned earlier, like I am getting this status within that. And how like this message field is coming here? If you go through my EI code and go through source code, right? So if you see, so this is my status, and inside status if you see that name and ID, and I'm adding here message, right? So inside message it's coming like that value only. So I hope like you are getting like how it is working like as a real time experience using ForEach Mediator. So those who are watching my video, kindly go through my channel, that is So Beyond Doubt. Regularly I am uploading WSO2 REST API videos, and in upcoming days also like I'll upload like Python related AI APIs videos, so which will be helpful for your future. So thank you so much those who are watching my video. Kindly like, share and subscribe my channel.